coming to you live from Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania and Atlanta, Georgia. This is UnitedFanZone with Sean Gregg and Mikey Douglas.
Welcome to another episode of UnitedFanZone. Today it's a free draw against Porto, and we have a special guest Q on again. How you doing, Q? What's your thoughts from the game?
Doing real well, man. I must admit I felt ridiculously optimistic when we went up 2-0. I can't say I'm surprised when we conceded 3. The late game heroics from Harry were interesting and amazing, but again, I kind of treat it as a loss.
Yeah, me too. I absolutely totally agree. I think that from us was a good first 20 minutes performance. I know, Mikey, you'll like to hear this. We seem to have a 20-minute 30, kind of inners in one game. After that, everything kind of capitulates. We kind of don't know what we're doing, and it's kind of getting annoying. I just feel like Man United, we come out, we're having a great game, and then all of a sudden we just capitulate. Like we just don't know what we're doing. Game plan goes to crap. I think it was just an horrendous performance once again from Manchester United. And as Sanjeev just said there, Big H, take a bow, my man. You haven't played all season. You come in, and within 5-10 minutes, you save our ass. So I've always been a person that I don't think Big H is there long term at Manchester United. But I'll give credit where credit is due, and he definitely deserves credit today.
Amen to that.
So I just kind of want to go off to our main talking point, and that is our defense worse than last season? What are you kind of thinking?
I have seen really bright moments from our new defense this season, I will say. I think the 𝗕 signing is a massive impact. He's good aerially. 𝗕𝗊𝙍𝙀, I do think, is a good signing for the price as well. But again, we're conceding when we shouldn't, in my opinion. I thought Lisandro Martinez today was subpar. And again, I expect a lot out of the guy, but I don't know if it was the injury that per se last season that maybe impacted the form or the performance of this season. But what are your thoughts on Martinez?
Something's wrong. Something's clearly wrong with Martinez. I noticed it in the third game, but I just thought, he was out a lot last year. Put it down to maybe fitness or, confidence. But after today, it's everyone is absolutely right. It's the same. It's no better than what it was last year. And I also want to put on there though that it's not just the defense. We've also got exactly the same midfield sitting there, helping the front, the back four, should I say? So what do we expect? Do we expect the defense to be any better if the midfield is not much better? You know what I mean? He clearly has a problem with 𝗕𝙀𝙀. I don't want to hear this we're rotating issue with 𝗕𝙀𝙀. He came in, he played a lot of minutes for Uruguay. Then we kept rotating him. So I don't really want to hear this. 𝗕𝙀𝙀, we have to rotate him. I don't think he's played a full game yet, to be honest with you. So I don't understand the rotation of 𝗕𝙀𝙀 today. I don't think Cass and Eriksen played a bad game, but I think the midfield was clearly wide open, and we didn't take advantage of that with a substitution.
Yeah, I think again, when you're putting Eriksen and Casemiro in the holding mid positions, their combined age is 65 plus or something, right?
Yeah.
So it's yes, all right, start them maybe, but then again, like you're saying, adjust and adapt to the game, make proper substitutions, and then maybe we can chat. But keeping them on for the duration that they were on the pitch was, in my opinion, incorrect.
Now, what was kind of shocking to me is, like, we're talking about this now, like, the defense seems the same as last year. Everyone kind of is like, we're all agreeing on that. The chat seems to be agreeing on that. The defense doesn't seem to be much better than last season.
Mhm.
Yet we bring Harry Maguire on, and we bring a 34-year-old defender on, and we defended much better. And not only that, the defender got the goal to save Ten Hag's ass, to be honest with you. I really, as poor a performance as that was, that goal in the last minute, really, I don't know. We're going to touch it a little bit later. It's one of our talking points. I really just want to focus right now on the defense. I just don't understand, like, Martinez, like, he looks slow, he looks sluggish. He doesn't look like the man that came to Man United, who was fearful, that would go in for it. I'm wondering, is the 2 breaks in his metatarsal, has that changed him? What do you think?
Yeah, I'm leaning towards that because I gave him a little bit of time, and I'm still going to give him more time as well. But I did expect kind of a quicker jump back to form, if you will, and because he was pivotal. He's the butcher. Like, he had that Man United energy before he even came to Man United, and we saw it early on in his career at Man United as well. So yeah, I just want to see that again.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of talking points in here in the chat about, substitutions. We will get to those. That is actually our next subject. But, just want to kind of touch on, like, the defense and stuff. I'll read some of the comments out. Sanjeev, the ultra high fullbacks is killing us too. You're not wrong. I don't understand why he will not swap Ďalo and Mazraoui. Clearly, Ďalo is not very good on the left. I know he had a couple of games, but the teams we were playing weren't exactly great. Since we started to play a few better teams, I know Porto isn't amazing, but, they're a good side. And you could clearly see today, like, if you've never played on the left and you're playing on the right, you're not used to that. When the person goes down the wing, you want to tend to turn to the right instead of turning to the left because that's not your natural position. I've seen it a lot with Ďalo. He'll turn to the right, which gives him a step behind, the winger that's going past him. Martinez keeps coming up to defend and getting burnt, leaving gaps behind. Those Atlanta Reds is, for me, that's on the coach. The coach wants them to play high. They want Erik ten Hag wants this defense on the halfway line. Like, we've known that since he came in. That's the way he played at Ajax. He wants that high line. He wants that defense up there. The problem is, like you're saying, when they both go up, there's no one behind. Now, De Ligt, for me, has been fantastic since he came in. He's a certain, he's a goal threat. He's always been a goal threat from set pieces. But he also looks sluggish today, also, for me. Like, 2 of the one goal that I definitely thought he could have done better on, which was the second goal. And then I'm going to touch on Mazraoui. What has happened to Mazraoui? I think, a couple of games ago, he was the signing of the summer. And then all of a sudden, he has just dropped off. Why are you heading it back towards your goal, almost scoring an own goal today? That was just outrageous. The fact that, luckily Onana pulled off an incredible save there.
Right. And on that save, I thought, actually, back to Martinez, I think Martinez, like, I kind of saw him jogging.
It was out of position.
He could have, sprinted to be in between, the goal scorer and the goal. But, yeah, I don't know. Yeah. Just a sluggish goal, I think.
Yeah, for me, it was a sluggish goal. Yeah, and just like Ďalo in the last game, Martinez was out of position. That's definitely something that Martinez last year or the year before would have, got rid of. But he was out of position, which, going back to the sluggish start.
Yep.
Atlanta Red saying that they didn't defend better. Porto was tired. I don't necessarily agree with that. This is Porto. I think United turned it on a little bit better in the last 15, 20 minutes. It's not necessarily always the tiredness. But for me, something has to change with this defense. Do we go back to Harry Maguire? on Sunday? Or do we keep with this? Because this defense has been horrendous in the last couple of games. And we brought 2 people in to take care of this. Luckily, Lenny Yoro is back in the next month and a half. So obviously, 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 needs to start working his ass off. So does Martinez, because Lenny Yoro is going to fit right into that team if one of these two don't, sort their problems out.
Yep, I agree. 100% agree with that.
Yeah, I give 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 a little bit more, a little more league room than I do Martinez, due to the fact this is a new league for him. It's a lot faster than the leagues that he's been in and used to. I know he's played in the Champions League against some teams. He played really well last year against Arsenal. So he has the ability to do it. But I'm wondering if all the talk about from when he came from Bayern, it was that whole, he has a problem when he's not on the ball, that he has a tendency to kind of switch off. Are we starting to see that? I don't think we are, but I have to kind of ask the question. Sure. Let's ask, the chat. Are we starting to see that? Is he kind of switching off when the ball is not around him? Because some of the play that I'm seeing from the back line is horrendous. And I'm not gonna lie, I was really excited to see this back line when they first come in. I thought there's no way we're gonna give up more goals than last year. But we have already at the beginning of the start of the season. It's like 9 goals we've given up in the last 3 games. So, what's your thought on it?
Yeah, I mean, so going back to 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀, I think I do see a ton of promise. He has been a little off lately, but again, he's so good aerially that I think, again, a goal threat, like you said, I think we're going to see a lot of positives out of 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀, but what we need more than individual effort is we need cohesion in the back 3 or 4 or whatever it is. We need to see them working together and gelling. And that's what I don't see. My main thing is, there's individual effort problems in the defense, but there's also a lack of just team collaboration and just expecting where each other is going to go. Like there's some miscommunication there.
One of the things that's driving me insane, and we touched, me and Casey touched on about it the other day. When the camera pivots to Ten Hag after we've just conceded, I have never seen a guy on a defense on the bench, let's say, looking more defeated and lost in where he is at. Like it keeps panning to him, and he's sitting there, and it looks like the world is going past him at 1,000,000 miles a second. Get the fuck off the bench, stand in your dugout, and start yelling at these players. I don't understand why he's sitting there just looking like the world's going past him. Like it's gone. It's just gone. And that's going to kind of touch us into our next point is, what the fuck are you doing with substitutions? Our best player by a mile for me was Marcus Rashford in that first half. I know at the end of the first half he should have passed that, but I'm not going to take that away from him. He's 8 yards out from goal. The ball is not as fast in front of him. That goes in the back of the net. But at the end of the day, it's kind of, what are you doing with your substitutions? You're taking the best player off after we conceded 2 goals, and then you're going, okay, we're expected to fix this by bringing 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 on. Like, for me, Marcus Rashford was by far the best player on the pitch.
I agree. I think he was, after his first goal, Rashford is a confidence person, he's a confidence player. So when he's on his high confidence, he cooks. So again, why sub him off when he is feeling good? That's exactly why he didn't pass the ball, like you're just mentioning, because he was cooking that match and he felt good. Did you say Ten Hag was saying it was to rest legs?
Yeah, his excuse in his interview after the game was, we have a game against Villa on Sunday. We need to rest legs. Okay. Play 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 on Sunday. Make that change on Sunday. But when you're in Europe and you have 2 draws one draw, should I say, and you're 2-2 after giving up a 2-goal lead in a tournament that you want to win, that you need to win, in my eyes, to keep your job this year, you take your best player of the game out. Not best player on the team, best player of the game out.
Right.
And I don't understand it. I just want to touch on a couple of, chats here. The explanation for Rashford is crazy from Sanjeev. Those Atlanta Reds. Martinez keeps coming up. We already read that one. My bad. Sanjeev again. It might just be a lack of belief in the team and the tactics. That is something that I'm definitely starting to wonder whether they're like wondering in his tactics. Those Atlanta Reds. What is Yelling going to do? Go take a look at Arsenal for 2 seconds, and you'll understand what it's going to do. Go and watch the Arsenal YouTube series that they put out online. You'll understand. Arteta doesn't put up with this shit. As much as I'll criticize Arteta, the rules were changed because of him. He has that team working in a system they believe in, and they listen to him when he's on the field. It's not so much about the yelling per se. It's more like being on the sideline and showing your players, hey, I need this, I need that. But we don't see it much from him during the game. He's not on the sidelines pointing and directing his players like he's supposed to. And I like going back to Fergie. Fergie used to do it. Mourinho does it. Every good coach has always stood on the sideline. Pep does it. Every good manager stands on the sideline and will instruct their players throughout the game. Because as much tactics he can give to his players, a game doesn't always go in your favor. It doesn't always go in the way that you want those tactics to go. So then your players are out there and like, oh, what do we do? What they need is 1, their captain to direct them. 2, they need the manager to sit on there saying, hey, you're going too wide. Let's bring it close. The midfield, bring it back. You're going too far forward. 1 stay there, 1 come back. You need, like, as someone has played, you need somebody to kind of direct you when the game plan isn't going the way you need it. Boxing is exactly the same. You do for 6 months of training trying to do this one boxing game. All of a sudden, the opponent comes out completely different. So when you sit down after the round, your coaches are giving you directions on, hey, we need to do a little bit of this. We need to change a little bit of that. That is why he needs to be on the sideline, but he doesn't do it. Those Atlanta Sanjeev is true something about the yelling. There's no different as us yelling at the TV. These guys aren't playing for him. They're not playing for him because he's not showing them the passion and drive that he should be. Like, I don't know what goes on in the dressing room. I've heard that there's yelling. I've heard that there's screaming. But they need guidance. They need told what to do when their game plan isn't going right. And for some reason, he doesn't seem to have to do this. And it's the same with the substitutions. I don't know what it's like. I've heard a lot of people say this. I've heard a lot of people in our corner say this. I hear a lot of people online saying this. He seems to have these substitutions written out before the game and then make the substitutions. Like, hey, I'm going to take Rashford off today at halftime. Well, what you should recognize is, hey, Rashford's playing fantastic today. Let's take Ahmed off, or whoever we change and put, Garnacho on the right instead, because, hey, we need a big win here. We need to show, our team, we need to show our supporters, hey, we can win this. Let's have some drive and passion to win this. Not only that, your job's on the fucking line, and you take the best player of the game out for Garnacho. Now, Garnacho wasn't bad in the game, but he didn't play as good as Rashford. I just want what your thoughts on those things are. I think him being on the sideline and directing the game is very, very important.
I 110% agree. Yelling maybe won't do much.
But the thing is, he has to kind of yell for the players to understand. I don't mean yelling at a player like, hey, what the fuck are you doing? I mean, he has to yell on the sideline for those players to hit.
No, so what I want to see out of Ten Hag is a reaction. Yeah. That's it. Like, I want to be when we're down 2-0 to Tottenham with a red card, I don't want to see, like you said, lost in the world face. I want to see some sort of action. Even if he fails, I want to see some sort of action. And
passion.
maybe it happens in the dressing room, but we don't know.
Yeah.
You know, again, we hear rumors about the dressing room, and the dressing room seems to be, you know, sort of split, I guess. But so my thoughts are, I just need to see more passion from a manager that is kind of failing the club right now. Because at least you got to give passion. That's the bare minimum. That's the bare minimum ask. And you have one of the biggest fan bases in the world, if not the biggest. And we're all here to back you. I just need you to love the badge.
Yeah, like I was actually, Sanjeev, I was literally just about to touch on that. Rude was shown a yellow card today for his passion to getting out there yelling and screaming. He was shown a yellow. I want to see our manager get yellow. I want to see him getting a red card every now and again. Sure. It doesn't matter whether he's on the sidelines or on the, 5 rows up on the, in the stands. He's still controlling the game. You don't think they're not texting each other? Hey, I'm seeing this. Make a change. Come on. I want to see a yellow. I want to see a red.
iPad, tablets, and stuff.
Yeah. But like some of the substitutions today for me, again, Bruno wasn't working. We left him on. We'll get into that again. It's kind of our next talking point with Bruno. He gets another red card, and we're down to 10 men. Why are you taking our striker off, who I thought had his best game this year? Obviously, he's played some substitutions, so he's not really making much of an effect coming on. He had a great goal today, and leave him on the pitch. And then you bring 𝙍𝙀 on, and right now 𝙍𝙀's not in kind of the form. He's not, he's getting in the box, but he's not looking like he's going to score. A lot of his chances are kind of weak-footed. I believe there's a great player in there. I really do. But why are you leaving Bruno on again and not dropping 𝙍𝙀 back into the 10 and leaving Højlund on? I don't understand that. And then again, why are we bringing Anthony on? The guy is so one-dimensional, it is unreal. Okay, I think he had one shot, wasn't on target, it hit the defender, and 2, I think he had one cross in 20 minutes of the game today.
Yeah, and I don't think the ball touched his right foot once again. Yeah, sadly.
That's my problem. We were talking about it just before the show. It's so one-dimensional that when Anthony comes on, the defender the left back instantly recognizes all I need to do is push this guy into the center of midfield, or the center of the box, because he's gonna shoot, and 9 times out of 10 it goes over for an extra point, as I like to call it. Now, yes, he has the ability to score a wonderful goal every now and again, but that's few and far between. The guy did nothing, absolutely nothing when he came on today. Didn't change the game. And this is, again, another point of, we keep asking, like, there's many times when I've said, hey, let's bring Anthony on. Let's see what I can do. This guy, at the start of the season, promised we'd see a different Anthony. We haven't seen jack shit.
He said he was going to promise to work on his right foot and stuff. Yep. I remember all the promises. Yep.
Yeah, like Atlanta Reds. I'm not sure what your point is here and what you're trying to get at. Yes, nothing happened when he got the yellow card, but he's not the manager. Okay, it's not going to happen right off of the bat. I'm not sure. Like, I really think you need to go and watch some games over the Manchester United, and you'll figure out that when the coach is on the sideline directing the players, and when I say yelling, they have to yell because there's 78,000 people in the stand. But you have to direct the traffic. You have to direct your team instead of sitting on the bench, sitting there like the world has gone past you for a million miles a second. We might got a draw against the mighty Porto. No, I don't want to hear we got a draw. That was a loss in my eyes. Absolutely, there was a loss in my eyes. We were 2-0 up. We were cruising, and our defense completely capitulated. I don't want to hear we got a draw against Porto. I'd rather have lost, to be honest with you, at this point. I don't know. Like, I go to watch the games, and I seem that nothing seems to be getting better. Like, our goal, I said this to you earlier, and I kind of find it funny. For me, United are the Steelers, right? They can even have an incredible defense and a shit offense, or a good offense, and like last week, and have a really shit defense. We can't have both at the same time, and I don't understand why. Those Atlanta Reds, this game upset my son.
What's that?
Yeah, those Atlanta Reds saying this game upset my son. It upset me. It upset my son. My son was with me today too. Casey Gale saying, yeah, I won't bang too much on that one. The Steelers are doing better than we are right now. Casey Gale saying, it's just really seems like Eric Ten Hag doesn't have a feel for the game. All his substitutions seems like they were premeditated before the match. Yeah, I just pointed on that. It really does seem like it's before the game. Like he doesn't seem like he knows what he's kind of doing without the game throughout the game. Like, why would you take Rashford off? Why are you putting Anthony on? Why are you taking Bruno off again when he's having a bad game and it gets a red card again? And I'm not gonna, this one's not getting overturned. That second tackle was horrendous. I don't care whether he got it was horrendous. His foot was at the same height as his face. That was a red card if he wasn't on the yellow card. He clearly hit the player's foot. I don't understand what's wrong with him right now. So, that kind of touches on to our next point, the Bruno red card again. This one's not getting overturned, guys. It's not getting overturned.
Yeah. And I mean, even if they tried, it was a double yellow, if anything, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So even if they, it's not getting rescinded, man.
No, it's not. Yeah. Those Atlanta Red, we've won the same amount of games as the Steelers. Yeah, the Steelers have also played less. So, Steelers have less losses.
I love those stats.
I just say with the Steelers, I just trying to have a quick comparison, being a Steelers fan, me and Q are both from, in the Pittsburgh area. We do see that the Steelers, they can never have an offense or a defense on at the same time. At the beginning of the season, our defense was great. We couldn't score a goal. Now our defense is capitulating and we seem to be scoring goals. So, we just can't keep them out. That's kind of...
Yeah, but I wanted to add one point on scoring though, because again, and it's kind of touches on the substitutions, but Rashford made that little beautiful cheeky pass to Højlund to score the goal.
Yeah.
So again, that's another reason why take Rashford off, because even if he's not scoring the goal, he's creating a goal. Yeah. So, I mean, so we can move on to Bruno Red if you'd like, but
I just want to. We will just a second. I get it, Mr. Literal. Yes, those Atlanta Reds. For me, I don't understand. I'm pissed, absolutely pissed that he took Marcus Rashford off today. I don't know if anyone's seen Marcus Rashford, his physique. I don't know if anyone's seen his training that he was doing in the spare time. We are 7 games into the season. There is no reason whatsoever to be taking Marcus Rashford off at halftime. Your audio is out.
I can hear you. You sound fine on me.
I'm not sure why, Sean, the audio is out.
I mean, I can hear you fine, man.
What the? I'm wondering why the audio is out. Oh, the audio's back. It's not my audio. Yeah. Those Atlanta Reds giving me crazy vibes over here, telling my audio, trying to ruin my stream here, Mr. Atlanta Red. Casey can hear me. But yeah, it kind of got me off track there. Thanks there, those Atlanta Reds. It pissed me off. It really did. I think that's one of the worst decisions that he's made in a long time. I just didn't understand it. There's no reason for taking Marcus Rashford off. This guy clearly is showing great signs this year compared to what he was last year. Like you could see that his goal, going the left foot to the right foot, classic Marcus Rashford. When he's going past the player, quick to the left, quick to the right, get through the player, you got the two defenders, shot on goal. Nice, hard, powerful shot, low, back of the net.
Yep.
To my eyes, the goalie could have done a little bit better, but it was a great goal. Why you take that off? For me, it changed the game. As good as Garnacho is, I think Garnacho is better off the right than he is off the left. But it just really irritated me. We'll move on to the Bruno Red. I don't know what's wrong with Bruno. I know, Mikey, you're going to touch on the point of the same as Rashford. As soon as he got his contract, you know, he went to shit. But to get 2 red cards in 2 games, who are you, Roy Keane? In actual fact, I don't think Roy Keane ever got 2 red cards in 2 games, and both of them
as the captain. You know,
yeah, as the captain, both of them were for high feet. Yes, the one on the weekend, my eyes wasn't a red, but you shouldn't put it in the hands of the referee. You shouldn't be putting it in the hands of the VAR. This one was horrendous, absolutely horrendous. You know, and now you've screwed us again. But on the good news is, now that you're not going to be playing the game next week, next Thursday or Wednesday, whatever we're playing, are we going to see 𝙈𝙀𝙀 in that 10 spot, or are we going to see Mount in that 10 spot?
Great question. My gut reaction is Mount. I would love to see 𝙈𝙀𝙀 though.
Yeah.
I'm not against Mount per se, but I'm just saying we've wanted to see that 𝙈𝙀𝙀 in the 10 for a while. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, yeah, I've wanted to see 𝙈𝙀𝙀 in a 10 for a little while. You know, I think now that 𝙈𝙀𝙀 is a lot more fit, I think we might see it. After tonight, yeah, 𝙈𝙀𝙀, hopefully 𝙈𝙀𝙀, but probably Mount. Anyone can clip this, and I don't care if anyone clips this. Off the ball, and let me point that out. Off the ball, Mason Mount is the best player we have. Off the ball. His ability to press non-stop for 90 minutes is insane. Now, I'm not saying on the ball. Yeah, I'm not saying on the ball. So you can clip that whatever way you want to, whoever wants to clip it. Off the ball, he's the best player we have when it comes to pressing. By far. The guy can run 90 minutes, but the problem is he can't stay fit. Casey Gale saying Bruno knows there's no consequences for his bad plays, that he's going to continue to be reckless. Sanjeev, wow, you think Mount is the best creative midfielder in the Premier League? Yes, Sanjeev, that's exactly what I said. He's always off the ball because he's always out the game. That's not true. That's not true. The start of the season when Mount was playing, our press on the high line was great. We didn't have a striker to finish the ball, you know, get the goal, but Mason Mount is not as bad as people seem to think he is. This guy who played for Chelsea, won the Champions League with Chelsea. He's got more trophies than we have, so let's not forget that. And he was a full star at Chelsea. That he's not a bad player. He's not our best player by far, but he's not a great player. He's not a bad player, should I say?
Yeah, I'm like, I don't think he's necessarily. He has a lot to bring.
Oh, yeah, you're breaking up there.
Sorry.
No, it's okay.
That's when
your internet's pretty bad.
That's when it becomes difficult.
Yeah. Yeah, but you got to remember all those Atlanta Reds. He also hasn't had a long run of games for Manchester United. He's been injured. He was injured most of last year. So he hasn't had the ability to have a run of games and really get going, really get to see the real Mason Mount. So to say that he's shit you can't say that. He hasn't had a good run of games for Manchester United to really show how good Mason Mount is. You know, so until I see this guy 5-6 games in a row where, you know, I can see that press. And let's not forget, I didn't say on the ball he's the best. I said pressing wise, he is the best player we've got, because Marcus Rashford doesn't press that well. Garnacho doesn't press. Well, I will say this. At the end of the game, that crackback from Garnacho to steal the ball again, I know it was the last play of the game, was one thing I did notice. Garnacho ran around to track this player back. And do you know who I saw here standing there doing nothing with no defender, no one around him?
Below?
Anthony.
Oh.
He ran past Anthony to track this player back to try and win the ball back, which he did. Got it to 𝙈𝙀𝙀. 𝙈𝙀𝙀 got fouled. The game's over. But if you've got another few minutes left there, he's off. You know, we've got that free kick. That's another opportunity. Anthony was just standing there, just didn't do nothing. I was like, what are you doing?
Yeah.
I get you, the Atlanta Reds. I'm saying you'll never see him for 5-6 games because he's made of naan bread. You're not wrong. That's one player I really wish we could see more of, you know.
Yeah.
And yes, Sanjeev, sarcasm does not work well in text. But Sanjeev is saying that is some good bread. I just want to pause for a second. I want to say, if there is anybody in the chat that hasn't, this is your first time in and you know, you're not engaging in the text, please join us. We are a very open community. As you can see, we do laugh and joke with, you know, all of our fans. And if you're in here today and you have not hit that like button today, please go ahead and do it now, because the algorithm for YouTube will not push us until that likes start going up. So I would like you all to go hit that like button today. I know you've all subscribed, but I would like you to go hit those like buttons for me today.
For sure. Smash that like.
Yeah, smash that like button. And I can see the like button right now, so I know when you guys are doing it. I'm going to get back at you at the end, you know, in 5 more minutes to say you do it. But again, if there's anybody in here that, you know, hasn't put in the chat, or if you're watching this later on, and, you know, please hit the subscribe button. Please hit the notification button also. It really does a lot for the algorithm for YouTube to push us a little further ahead. What's your thoughts on Bruno? What do you think's going on?
Well, I was looking at like past year stats of Bruno earlier today, and he had 46 goals and assists across all comps in, I believe it was his 2021-2022 season.
Yeah.
Obviously a great, fantastic year. After that, he kind of dropped down a little bit, but this season specifically, and again, I wonder if this is like something to do with the juju of the Manchester United captaincy these days, because Harry Maguire, you know, he was the most ridiculed player for Manchester United for over a year. You know what I mean? All the memes, all that. And we revoked the captaincy, and now he's saving our ass. Like, maybe Bruno, captaincy is going to his head, and he gets that Ten Hag immunity, and he just thinks he's like, you know, no matter what he does, he's in the squad. So, but I don't like that mentality. I want a manager to say, you got the job, but when you're shit at it, I'm giving somebody else the time, and you better work your ass off to get to it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I absolutely agree. Sanjeev, can we make Anthony captain? I get that sarcasm, Jeeves. I get that sarcasm over text. He's earned the ridicule, and stop. He's not saving our ass. He did today. Did he not?
I mean,
but no, he's generally
we
he's not.
Came out with a loss, and
yeah,
we're calling it a loss. But hey, I mean, it at the end of the day, it is a draw.
He saved Ten Hag's ass, did he not?
Right.
Because another loss would have gone a real long way to getting him fired.
Yeah.
I get what you're saying here, those Atlanta Reds, but I also get to kind of I'll put it a different. Let me put it a different way, and let me tell me if this is kind of what you meant. I think he lost the captaincy and knuckled down, started playing better, and earned the respect that he kind of deserved a little bit after he was so shit for so long that when he lost his captaincy, he started playing better. Yeah,
that's exactly what I'm saying. But to add on that, I guess what I was saying is, to be the captain of Manchester United is a big weight on your shoulders. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, again, you get media ridiculed more than any other team out there. So Bruno is not getting media ridiculed as much as Harry Maguire is, but you have to wonder, is just being the captain of Manchester United like a lot or too much? You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get what you mean. Like, since Fergie left, you know, the captains that we've had haven't exactly done great. So I get you more, you know, and I think the pressure comes more on, you know, the captain, because this has been so long of Man United being so bad.
Well, Well, you made the point earlier. You said, if it's not the manager on the sideline yelling, it's got to be the captain, right?
Yeah.
And I think Bruno yells. He obviously yells, but it's more so to complain. It's not to instill, hope and drive in the players. It's more like complaining to the referees. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And it's kind of like, I will give him one bit of credit. Before he was sent off against Spurs, he was that player that was directing traffic. You could clearly, I went back and watched the game. I always watch the games with you at the bar. But one thing I always do is I come home, I rewatch the game, I'll pause it and analyze it. I'll go over that. I'll write some stuff down, especially for the show and stuff like that.
Sure.
But that's one thing I did notice in, rewatching some of the Tottenham game. I'm not going to lie, I didn't watch all of it. I was too depressed to watch all of it. He was directing, he was pointing at players like, hey, you need to be over there, you need to be over there, which is his job, which he should be doing. If the pressure is too much for him right now, I don't necessarily see a player in this team who could have the balls to come up and step up and be the captain. Last year, I agree with Will. Last year, I would say Lich. Or the year before, I would say Lich because he was that guy in defense. He
was that guy, yeah.
Yeah. But the thing with Lich, I think right now, for me, I think it's a lack of confidence from being out most of last year. And then also, I'm starting to wonder whether there's a doubt in his head about injuring that foot again. I don't know. I can't. I'm not going to be, a Mystic Meg and tell you that that's what it is. I'm wondering if that is it. But I don't know if there's anybody in the team that could truly take over, because the start of the season I would have definitely said 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 because of how well he was managing the defense. But so that's what those Atlanta Red is saying. If it's too much for him, take it off him and give it to 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀. I would love to, or Mazraoui. I wouldn't give it to Mazraoui. I don't think Mazraoui's that kind of player. 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 is. He has shown it at Bayern. He's shown it at Juve, and he's shown it at Ajax. He's that kind of person that can step up and take it. I'm just wondering if being at Man United so short, we don't want to go down the same road as giving it to Harry, like we did to Harry Maguire so soon in his career.
Yeah, I mean, this is a super hot take. I don't recommend this, but I think Onana has the mentality to be a captain because he just takes it.
Yeah.
Like when he goes down, he says, "It's my fault. I take the blame." Now, can Onana call tactics on the pitch and change the game? Maybe not, but he at least has the mentality like you're talking about. You know what I mean?
And for me, I'm honestly, he's not been the greatest player this year, but for me, I won't give it to 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 just yet. I would probably give it to him at the end of the season. I would probably give it to Casemiro right now. And let me explain that before anyone jumps down my throat. The guy has more experience and more trophies than anybody else on this team. He also has been in a team that has won every single thing possible, who dominated in Europe, in the Champions League. So he knows the winning mentality. He's been around some of the best managers possible, like that could possibly manage him. He's been around Mourinho, he's been around Ancelotti, he's been around some of the best managers ever. I'm wondering, until 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 is ready, do we give it to Casemiro to really, sort out this team, like why being on the pitch? Because we can clearly see that he's favoring Casemiro over Ugarte right now. Which I'm not exactly going to sit here and say, hey, Ugarte's had the best start to his Man United career. He got absolutely hammered against Tottenham. So maybe warming him in a little bit.
That's kind of what I'm hoping. That's what I'm hoping it is just easing him in, because Ten Hag is all about this, rotation and, fresh legs and all of this stuff. And I think it's because he realized last year that his training model led to a lot of injuries, possibly. I mean, could be medical staff, could be game, whatever. But I think he's trying to be a little conscientious now about those types of about like injuries, I guess, and just trying to keep players fresh. 𝙈𝙊𝙍𝙀 being new to the league, I also see him like easing him in too, and that's part of
I do. Yeah, I 100% agree with you. The 𝙈𝙊𝙍 thing, like, especially after the weekend against Tottenham, I think he needed to be eased in a little bit more. I don't understand why he didn't play today at any point, which infuriated me. Again, you know, our midfield, we have a combined age of 64, and you leave them on for the entire game instead of bringing 𝙈𝙊𝙍 on, who has experience of going to a Champions League final with PSG. So let me rephrase that. I don't know if he did actually. I think it was year before he was signed that they went to the Champions League final. But still, he has Champions League experience. So I don't understand why he wasn't played today. Yeah.
He got blood on his face. Like that's the Manchester United energy I'm talking about.
Yeah.
Man. Like 𝙈𝙍 used to have.
I'm not saying like, hey, you should have started the game or whatnot. Like I think the midfield was okay. I don't think it was great. I think there was lacking. There was still those holes in Man United that we've come to accustomed to see for the last couple of years. But I think, you know, bringing him on at some point would have been better. It would have been a better substitution than bringing Rashford off, put it that way. Just a couple more comments. As has been the only person to wear the armband this year, other than let him continue. Rejat saying 𝙈𝙊 for captain. My problem with that is I don't think 𝙈𝙊's going to be the starting right back when Luke Shaw comes back. I think he's going to give it to 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝙍. And from the start of the season, I think he will, you know, I think 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝙍 is going to get that starting right position. I'm not 100% agree with it. I'm a little torn on that one, especially with 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝙍 playing the way he is right now. Will Lang Onana isn't afraid to yell at his players. I wouldn't be against giving it to him. I wouldn't be against giving it to him. My only problem with that is he doesn't see the game from the. That's why captain is usually a center midfielder of some sort, whether it's a central defensive midfielder or the 10, because you're seeing the game a lot more than you are as a goalkeeper. I'm not saying goalkeepers are bad choice.
That's what I was getting at, kind of, because you have this very, you know, two-dimensional view of the game.
Yeah.
You can't really, and this is what we need to be better at overall, is if we do start out or capitulate, like you were saying, like we need to adapt.
Yeah.
And for a captain to see a two-dimensional vision of the game, it's hard to adapt to that. So central midfield makes sense, but overall, we just need somebody that's gonna make a change in the middle of the game. We are capitulating.
Yeah. Jeremy Sanchez saying 𝙈𝙊𝙍 played in Portugal before PSG, so playing against Porto would not have been new to him. Exactly. And these are the kind of situations that Ten Hag is finding himself in. Is fans are questioning this. If fans like myself and you can see this, why can he not see this? You know?
Right.
Casey Gale saying Onana definitely wasn't a problem today. No, he wasn't. I think that stop that he put in from nearly going into his own net from 𝗦𝗶𝗴𝙍 wasn't it reminded me of a David De Gea save.
Yeah.
Because it was so close to him, and so the power coming off of his head towards the goal was so fast. I think it was a fantastic save. I think, you know, none of the goals he could have done anything about. But Casemiro was at Porto 1 year when he was at Madrid, but only loan. Exactly. What was that? 20 years ago? Porto is a little different than that. I get your point there, Rajat. I really do. Was David not captain for us? What are you all talking about? You hate David De Gea. You hate David De Gea. You like literally could not wait to see the back of David De Gea, Mikey. So I'm not saying he would be a bad. I just feel like what me and Q were saying, you don't really see a lot of the pitch. Also, we didn't exactly have the best of times when David De Gea was captain. How did we? All I'm saying is Onana's body language is nowhere near as damning as Bruno's a lot of the time. It's recently, it's not as bad. It's better than all of the time, let alone a little bit of the time. Yeah, I can see you laughing there, Mikey. I know you agreeing with Will for a split second and saying that he was our captain, but you literally hate David De Gea. So that I agree with you guys. I'm not against Onana being the captain. I just think from the perspective that for me, a midfielder has the better opportunity to see it, because when he's going forward, he's seeing what's in front of him, and when he's coming back, he's seeing what's behind him. So, I feel like a midfielder is a better opportunity, whereas a goalkeeper, you don't see what's going in really on the other 6-yard line. In the other box, so you don't you can't direct your player around that because you can't see what's going on. I just feel like a midfielder sees the whole of the game, and I agreeing with Q there. I just wanted to kind of our next point, how much time and how much patience, and this goes out to everybody else in the chat, how much time and how much patience is the board going to continue to have with Erik ten Hag if things continue to go around this route? Because the first 20 minutes, I'm going to say this, and I don't know if you heard at the beginning, Mikey, you have been 110% correct on Manchester United this year. We do not have more than 30 minutes of game in us. The rest of the game, everybody else takes over. And I'm not including the Carabao Cup because we're playing the League 2 side. That should have been 7-0, 5-0, 7-0. I know last year it would have been, but, we expect different this year. How much time and patience are the board going to continue to give Ten Hag? You give me your answer before I read off some of the questions.
It's a great question. I've been thinking about it a lot lately, but I do think based on the Tottenham loss and sort of the responses, like Ten Hag had made the comment that, we decided to stay together. Did you see that quote?
Yeah.
It was very vague still, but so I guess what I'm getting at is I'm still till January, man. I hate to admit it. I do hate to admit it. But I'm trying not to be that person that just says replace the manager and repeat the cycle. Like I'm trying to give it a little bit. But if we are 11th by January 1st, 2025, we got to have that conversation.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think there's some hard games to come. We got Villa at the weekend. We Chelsea. I called this last year. I told everybody Chelsea would finish in the top 4. I actually have a good bet on Chelsea finishing in the top 4 this year. That's going to be a difficult game that's coming up real soon. We're only a month and a half away from facing Arsenal and City. Those games I am not looking forward to. I'm not, forget Villa right now. I'm not looking forward to facing Chelsea because they are banging in 4 goals a game. So how much embarrassment do Man United fans have to go through before the board goes, enough is enough? I'm going to read some of the questions, the comments.
Yeah, what do they say?
Those Atlanta Reds, let Ten Hag play until December. Will Lang, my money is on staying for the rest of the season. Sanjeev, let him celebrate Christmas in Manchester. Yeah, me and you are going to celebrate on Boxing Day, boy.
Yeah, we will.
Those Atlanta Reds, but we will lose at Villa and it will be over. But I'm till January. Sanjeev, I can't cash out on my United top 4 bet. I wonder why.
Yeah.
There's no bookie in the world that's going to let you cash out on that one, Sanjeev. Will Lang, just because we fix backroom staff doesn't mean all the club's problems are solved. We only see what's going on the pitch. There's one of the best comments we've ever had on the show, Will. That's not a question, shall I say, a statement, shall I say. That's actually a really good, point. How much are we not seeing in the back of the Man United? Is it not? Is Ten Hag not affecting these players? Is it the backroom staff that are affecting these players? This isn't a question that we've answered for ourselves yet.
Yeah,
we automatically think Ten Hag, but is it the backroom staff? I think that's one of the best kind of answers to a question that I've I've seen on the show. Will.
Yeah, I mean that's it is a fantastic point, because as much as you and I and probably everybody watching this channel here, we research this club tirelessly. I mean, we're obsessed with them, but we do still just see kind of the surface level stuff. We see media.
Yeah.
We don't get insight into the dressing room. We don't know exactly what's happening in this huge corporation that is Manchester United. I mean, there's a lot of moving parts,
Yeah. So
it's a good point. Great point, Will.
It is. And yes, you can take your bow, Will, just as you said. Casey Gale saying, we have 10 more games before December, and I ain't looking forward to not one of those 10 games right now. Sometimes I didn't want to go to the pub. I didn't want to go to the pub today, but my kid was off. And, every time my kid comes to the pub with us to watch a game, and United don't lose. So, again today, we didn't lose. So, you guys love the press conference. It's a press conference. I don't watch the press conference. I watched a 30-second video before this to see if there was a talking point. But I never watch press conferences. Those Atlanta Reds will batting 100%. Yeah, I'm going to touch on it. There's been a lot of changes at Man United in the last year. I'm not saying that these are excuses, but because they are changes for the good that we see. But there is also a lot of negativity within Old Trafford itself, with the firings and you're not going to the FA Cup final. You got to pay for yourself, which Bruno paid for. Bruno paid for the staff to go to the FA Cup final, by the way. Their dinners being, their lunches during games being taken away. So as much as we see it as a positive that they're taking over, there is also a lot of negativity on the back end of stuff when it comes to staff that have been there. The only person that's safe at Manchester United is our wonderful secretary. She's been there for so long. But that's touching the point that it really is a good point, Will. Like, we don't see what's going back there. Is there something we're seeing that really isn't going on? How much are the Glazers still involved? Is there miscommunication between the Glazers and Sir Jim? We only just got 2 of our main guys, Borada and Dan Ashworth, in at the start of the season. So, how much time have they had to take effect? So a lot of this really needs looked at, and it really does, instead of just blaming Ten Hag, because there are a lot of things to blame Ten Hag for. Like I said today, the substitutions are just awful. Some of the no, we're not sacking the secretary. She's phenomenal. Dude, if you sacked the secretary of Man United, there would be uproar. There would be uproar if she got fired. She is beloved at Manchester, so we can't do that. She's the problem. Will Lang, let's not forget the glimpses of progression we've seen either. It's easy to start pointing fingers when things go bad. Again, who is this Will Lang? Another great point. It is easy to point. At the beginning of the season when we were doing okay, we could, we're all fickle and say, we could see the progression, and then things started to drop off. I'm guilty of it. Q, you're guilty. We're all guilty of it, of going, let's fire Ten Hag, I don't see Ten Hag turning it around, but I'm going to be the first one to apologize and say I'm wrong if he does. CAF is the foundation. Honestly, I think there would be more riots if CAF got fired. Do you know who CAF is?
The secretary.
Yeah, she's that sweet lady that's been there since, Fergie.
Forever.
I think there would be bigger riots if she got fired than there was before the Super League was going to happen. or when we stormed the pitch and got the Liverpool game called off.
Right.
So yeah, that's kind of where I'm at. I want to kind of touch on our last point because we are at 9 o'clock. I want to hear team and prediction for Sunday. I'm going to start with UQ.
Oh boy, Aston Villa.
Do we start the same way at 4? Start there.
I'm an optimist, man. So I'm gonna go 3-2 United.
3-2 United.
Yep.
What's your team?
So we'll do. I want Xerxes in the 10. I went Højlund up top, Rashford on the left, Garnacho on the right. I would like Menu, Ugarte, 𝗕𝙁, Mazraoui, Delo, and yeah, Martinez, I guess.
Who are you going like up front? Like, are you starting Bruno? Are you dropping Bruno?
No, yeah. No, I dropped him for Xerxes.
Oh, you dropped him for Xerxes
and Højlund up top. Yeah.
I'm gonna go. I haven't seen enough from Ahmed this year. I think Ahmed is dropping off a little bit, so I'm gonna go Garnacho on the right. I'm gonna go 100% Rashford on the left. I'm gonna go Højlund up front. I can't see him dropping Bruno, so I'm gonna say Bruno. I just don't see him dropping Bruno. I'm gonna put Bruno there. Just because I don't see him dropping. Not that I want him there. I'd rather have Xerxes or Mount there, but I just don't see him dropping. Menu, Ugarte. I'm going to drop Martinez.
Okay.
Or Harry Maguire.
Okay.
And then I'm going to go, obviously, Delo on the left and Mazraoui on the right. I don't agree with it. I think they should be swapped. I think Mazraoui would play better off the left than right. But I think he drops Martinez. I think we're going to see some balls out of him. Yes, Ahmed just starting the role. I absolutely agree with you. I think he's going to be a fantastic player. I just haven't seen a lot out of him in the last couple of games. That's all. So I'm just saying, just this game, I see more of a threat from Garnacho on the right just for this game because I honestly believe.
I agree.
Garnacho is probably be our bit out. Other than the goalie, I think he's been our best player overall this season out of all of the games. Will Lang's going 4-2 to Villa. AC Gale's going 2-2. Those Atlanta Reds going 4-1 to Villa. I'm going to go... I'm going to go 3-1 to Villa. I'm going to go 3-1 to Villa. I just don't see Man United winning this game. I just don't.
This is the optimist in me that boils up and then it gets killed every time. So it's not my first rodeo.
I wouldn't really say Garnacho was trash today. He was better than Ahmed today. He was better than Anthony today. I think he played okay today. I don't think he was the best player on the pitch by far. But what I'm saying is overall this season, he has been our best player. Like, I don't see how anyone argues with that. Overall in the games this season, he has been our best player. He might not have played amazingly today, but I think over the season, he's been our best player. You know, I've started to see when Rashford 2 years ago, it took him until and I mean just before the World Cup to really kick on. And then after the World Cup, he was just on fire. So I'm starting to see, Rashford like becoming more and more confident every single game. My main two disappointments this year have been Bruno and 𝗕𝙁𝙀. I think they're the big two disappointments this year. You got to also remember Garnacho is only 19 still, so let's not forget that,
and same with Manu, man. Like we're putting a lot of weight on these kids,
Yeah, we are. We're this. You got to remember our average team went down from, I believe it was 29 2 seasons ago, and I believe it's around 24 now. The average team age. I would like to. Yeah. just don't see us winning this game. So Will Lang saying Garnacho fired more on target than anyone else in the second half. He did. He almost scored a screamer in the second half too.
That was nice. That was a nice strike.
PC Gale's got a good point. Due to Erik ten Hag, his substitutions and man management, he has played guys out of form. Ahmed is 21. Yes, Ahmed is 21. Garnacho is 19 still, I believe. I wasn't on about Ahmed. I was on about Garnacho. Ahmed's, yes, he's at that 21, but technically the ripe age for a football player is what, 25 to 27, I believe.
Still young. 21.
He's still young. We've seen glimpses of how good he could be. You know, last year he played really well against Liverpool. He got the winning goal. Right. He played well at the end of the season. You know, he played well in preseason, but I haven't seen that spark in him. I think another player that that might be lacking a little confidence. He had
that awesome spell at was it Sunderland? Right?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, he crushed there. So there is hope in him for sure. I just need to see a little bit more confidence, like you're saying.
Yeah,
confidence I think is key.
And then that's why that's my reasoning for playing, Garnacho on the right and Pingway on the left. I honestly would drop Leacher for Harry Maguire. I remember today, like when we were high up the pitch and that they were on a counter attack. Remember what I said to you about Harry Maguire? You see how slow he was? He was out. Yeah, he was so out of breath getting back.
By the time he got back.
Yeah, he was gassed. The ball was already in our half.
Right.
Will Lang, I want to see Rasmus up top with 𝙈𝙀𝙀 or Mount behind him with actual freedom to roam. Yeah,
I would love to see that.
I would love to I would love to see 𝙈𝙀𝙀 play a 10 and Rasmus forward.
I mean, if it flops, it flops, but I want to see it first. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And one last thing before we go is, one thing I want to start seeing is I want to see the backroom staff saying to Ten Hag, enough is enough with Bruno Fernandes. I'm not saying I am done with Bruno Fernandes forever, because there's still a great player in Bruno Fernandes. But something is clearly off, and to get sent off twice in 2 games is only hurting the team. His play on the field is hurting the team. So something needs to change, and he needs to understand that, hey, someone back there needs to say to Ten Hag, if Ten Hag hasn't already figured this out, he's my captain, but you're not playing good, I'm dropping you. That's it for another show from us. Q, do you have anything else left to, add?
No, just thanks for having me again, Sean. Always a good time. And good commentary today. And we go again on Sunday, man.
Yeah, I'll see you at the bar on Sunday. I'm not sure how I'm going to feel after it. And unfortunately, there is no Steelers straight after because we got the late game. Right. So, I will see you on Sunday. I will see everybody else on Monday. Mikey, let me know if you're going to come back. We miss you. I hope the baby's doing well, and we'll see you all later. Peace.
Bye.
Yes, people, what's happening?